Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
And welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of Sports Shorts, presented by LeBear's Casino. Ronnie Rantz here with you. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, and the Lenten season is upon us. So this is the time, right, where we're supposed to, eat seafood on Fridays and call that a sacrifice and, calm down a little bit. We're not supposed to go drink as much and all that. But after watching LSU baseball, pour yourself a glass of Fireball or something stiff because buckle up because the ride's about to get pretty bumpy over the next few months. We'll get to that here in a little bit on the show. We'll hear from Brandon Larson, the former Tiger great first-round pick of the Cincinnati Reds back in 1997. Brandon will join us. He's now a scout of the world champion Washington Nationals. He was at the games at Minute Maid this past weekend where LSU lost 2 out of 3, and he was there for the historic no-hitter that Oklahoma's pitched against LSU. First time a 9-inning no-hitter has been allowed by the Tigers in 125-plus years of this great historic program. But before we get to Brandon, we'll also have Buzzy Haydel in studio. Yes, the Buzzard is here, former 2009 national champion. We'll hear from him a little bit later on. But I want to talk a little LSU basketball and a little Pelicans talk briefly. The LSU Tigers took care of Texas A&M 64-50 on Saturday. LSU was a 10.5-point favorite, and if you heard it on Sports Shorts TV and radio last week, we had Henry Hayes on, and Henry Hayes said, take it to the bank. LSU's going to win. Dump everything you have on the Tigers. It's Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, jersey retirement. Skylar Mays has only got a couple games left at the PMAC. They're going to win. They're going to do it. Put everything you have on LSU. So, of course, on Saturday morning, I'm looking for the line, and I can't get a money line bet on LSU from the window at Vegas because they're a 10.5-point favorite. It's too big of a line. It's no money line bet. So if I want to take some action on the Tigers, I have to make a decision. Do I believe LSU is going to cover the 10.5, or do I think Texas A&M will cover, getting 10.5? I thought LSU would win. We all thought LSU would win, but 10.5 is a lot of points. And if you look at LSU, I think they had 12 games by 2 points or less or something like that they played this year, or 3 points. I mean, it's crazy. Every game's tight. Even if they have a big first half, they let them back in the second half. So yours truly helped the Tigers by taking Texas A&M plus 10.5. And sure enough, another deposit for me at the window in Vegas as LSU led by 8 and 10 through most of the game, but at the end, just a little extra push to make you a winner. So you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, because if I had not bet on LSU to lose the 10.5, or actually for Texas A&M to at least cover the 10.5, the Tigers would not have covered. Trust me. The other action. So, by the way, LSU punched their ticket. They picked up win number 12, in my opinion, punched their ticket to the NCAAs. Now they're playing for seeding the rest of the way. The other you're welcome bet that I placed, and keep in mind, I do not bet college basketball, much like, or pro basketball for that matter, much like how Wooden Haven Furniture Company never has sales over on Government Street. I don't bet on basketball. Maybe a couple games a year. Well, I've done that 3 times this year, and I've lost 0-3. So Sunday night, I get back from Minute Maid, where I watch a putrid performance by the LSU's offense on Sunday as they got no hit. And I go to dinner with a buddy, and he's about to put some action on the Lakers and Pelicans game. All right? The Pelicans were a 0.5 point favorite for the first quarter, and they were a 1.5 point, 1.5 favorite for the game. What do we see about an hour before game time? Anthony Davis, AD, not going to play for the Lakers. And they got blown out by Memphis night before. So yours truly, you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, because I bet the Pelicans minus 1.5. Just threw a little ducats out there on the Pelicans to cover that 1.5. Zion going to get the Lakers at home with no Anthony Davis. He's going to push LeBron around. He's an old man. The back-to-back road trip's going to get him. Didn't happen. Zion had a big game. His teammates forgot to show up, and nobody guarded LeBron. And Pelicans lose 122-114. And once again, you're a winner because of me. And if you bet, by the way, I'm serious. I mean, I think I'm just going to have to start doing that. Go exactly the other way with everything that I believe and know about. Unbelievable. Congratulations to the Southern Jaguars. Joseph Battaglia threw a 7-inning no-hitter as they blew out Prairie View. How about the junior from Baton Rouge Community College by way of Lafayette? And first start of the year, and he goes and throws a no-hitter against Prairie View A&M. We're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and reach out to Brandon Larson. I'm going to talk a little LSU baseball here with you here. The Tigers, over the weekend, 34 strikeouts for LSU on offense. There wasn't much of offense. Saul Garza had a couple of swings. Daniel Cabrera finally looked like the preseason All-American that we thought he was. On the big stage, he's raised his performance, and it looks like he's off and running offensively. But other than that, a couple of swings by Garza, a good weekend by Cabrera, some decent at-bats at times by Doty, who hit the ball hard sometimes and had nothing to show for it. Other than that, it was a long weekend offensively. The Tigers' offense, you ready for this? Hitting under 230 as a team. They're averaging 8 strikeouts a game. I don't know where you go from there when you hit 220 and before SEC play, hitting into 220s before SEC play, and you're averaging 8 strikeouts a game before you see all the first, second round arms that you're going to see in the SEC. Let's bring in a guy right now who knows a lot about hitting. Back in 1997, how about this line? 280. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Man, 286, 281. I'm sorry, 386, 381, something like that. 40 homers, 118 RBIs. Let's bring in Brandon Larson right now, former Tiger first-round pick. How are you, Brandon?
What's up, Ronnie? How's it going, man?
381, was it?
Something up there, man.
Yeah, that must be nice to hit that and not really know, just 380-something. Who cares about the average? Just the 40 homers and the 118 RBIs, which are still SEC records that anybody talks about. Brandon, you're now a scout with the world champion Washington Nationals. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
7 years with that organization. When are you getting your ring?
They say sometime in April, so we're looking forward to that. Hope they might fly us in and present it on the field, but they're still working all the logistics of that. But, man, really stoked to be getting one. Got a national championship ring from LSU, and now pretty blessed to be getting one for being a world champion.
We've got that's pretty outstanding. You obviously signed Andrew Stevenson, who made it to the big leagues, and he's kind of up and down right now with the Nationals. Give us an update on Andrew? What's his status and situation with the organization?
Look, I love Andrew. Can run. Can really give you a great at bat. Grinds. World class speed out there. Any other club. He's probably a guy starting for those guys, but he just happens to be in a log jam kind of with us, with Soto and Neaton, and it's one of those deals where he keeps grinding, keeps getting opportunities, and he's probably going to end up with somebody here later in the starting lineup. I love the kid, great character, and just really, really rooting for him and wishing the best for him because he can really play.
Brandon, I want to ask you, you were at the Minute Maid over the weekend and saw LSU lose 2 out of 3, and you saw them struggle offensively, 34 strikeouts, and obviously got no hit for the first time in program history in a 9-inning game. Prior to that, 1978, they had been no hit in a 7-inning game at Auburn, and then in 1974, they were no hit in a 7-inning game at South Alabama, and the only other time was in 1914. In Austin, Texas, as the Longhorns beat LSU 5-0 in that game. Don't know who's pitching. They're long gone anyway. But here's the thing that I want to ask you. When you, as a scout, you saw Cade Doty, you saw Maurice Hampton Jr., you probably didn't see Giovanni DiGiacomo, who's over in Florida, but maybe at some point you did. My point is, from a scout perspective, there is talent on this team. There are guys that you saw, a year ago or 2 years ago and thought, guys can play a little bit, but what are you seeing now from them?
Well, listen, Shockwave for sure going through probably Baton Rouge this morning, and it's certainly back to the drawing board, I guess, if you will, on Monday in the offices. But, Ronnie, we, in my opinion, we're living in this analytical world today. We got these launch angles and all these things, and we're giving a lot of sensory overload, in my opinion, to these young players. And it's not just LSU. It's a trend across the country. I was fortunate to play for Skip, and we had some hitters in there that we just got in the cage and we worked, and we went out there and we just hunted for some fastballs, and we were very confident and had a lot of emotion and played the game with a lot of emotion. And and again, what I'm seeing as a scout, as a former player, is man, these guys look like robots today. And they don't really go up there with a lot of emotion. They don't really have a lot of aggressiveness, stuff like that, man. So it's just tough in today, these analytics and all that. It's something that's worrisome. LSU, in my opinion, this year is they're not going to thump it out of the park, man. They're going to have to create. They're going to have to bunt. They're going to have to move runners. They're going to have to do all that stuff to be successful. And no doubt they're going to have some growing pains with some of these young hitters because I've seen it. I've seen them in high school, and you're right, man. They are going to struggle, but I think those guys are very athletic and are going to be something in a couple of years. But they're going to go through some growing pains.
Talking with Brandon Larson, former Tiger great and first-round pick of the Cincinnati Reds back in 1997, now a 7-year scout with the Washington Nationals, and he was at Minute Maid this past weekend. I want a couple players specifically, and just your overall takeaway. It's rare that true freshmen, burst onto the scene and are great. You can count on two hands the number of players in the last 30 years that had major impacts and were outstanding and starters as true freshmen.
No doubt.
But in LSU's forced with that. When you look at their lineup, they're going with maybe 3 or 4 freshmen at a time in their lineup, and that's just such a low percentage play. What is, from your perspective, from a scout's perspective, what is the expectation of a freshman? Are you giving them a little bit of a curve, realizing there's a growing period?
I'm not, to be honest. As a scout, this is kind of what you're looking for in a freshman that's starting at an SEC school, especially LSU, Vandy, Ole Miss. I mean, you're telling the whole world, hey, listen, this is a guy for us.
Talking with Brandon Larson. Brandon, you there? I think yeah. There you go. You cut out for a second. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, and again, I'm sorry, I'm driving, but freshmen on that stage, Ronnie. Of course, there's big expectations. And, like you said, only a couple stick out in my mind. Todd Walker, Blair Barbier. I mean, some of these guys that came in and did it right away. And if those guys don't produce, you gotta get them out of there. And you got to find somebody that will. And especially on that stage, and that's just the way it is. And from a scout standpoint, we are really eyeballing those guys because you're telling us, hey, this is a guy we think is going to produce now.
Do you think LSU, Brandon, can win this year? When I say win, the number and minimum is 15 wins in the SEC. You got to go 15-15 to probably guarantee yourself an NCAA regional bid. Anything less than that, you're leaving it in the hands of a committee. Probably 14 gets you in, but the bottom line is you get 15, you punch your ticket to an NCAA regional. Can they win with just pitching, basically?
Well, I was just going to say, listen, their staff is pretty phenomenal, and that's credit to Alan over there, and he does a heck of a job. Listen, they got to go back to the drawing board. And they've got to get some production out of that bottom half because other than Cabrera and Garza and Beloso, I mean, you've got to be able to move some guys and get some runs and small ball really needs to be on the drawing board this morning, in my opinion. I mean, as far as the staff goes, they're as good as anybody in the country, and we've seen that the last couple weekends. Henry threw a gem a couple weeks ago. AJ just threw a gem last night. I mean, so they've got the arms. They just need to find some ways to manufacture, and I guarantee you, Ronnie, they're going 100 miles an hour on that this morning.
One last thing before we let you go, Brandon. You obviously saw Milazzo in high school at Zachary High and with Team USA. He's getting a chance, it looks like, to pretty much be the starting catcher for at least 3 years at LSU. He's short in stature, and, of course, you know, that sometimes you'd love to have a bigger frame. But from a scout's perspective and for a guy that's only a freshman in college, how good is he, in your opinion, defensively?
Well, listen, again, back to that freshman talk we just had. This kid reeks confidence. And when he gets in the box, he's behind the plate catching. He is a confident young man, and you can see that from 30 stories up at Minute Maid. So I think he's got a special future. I think that's a guy that deserves to be in the lineup, because when he walks up to the plate, you automatically know, hey, this kid's got a chance to do something. I want to watch this at bat. I want to watch him catch. I want to jot my notes. I want to jot my projection on him for the next couple of years. He is certainly going to be a special young man if he keeps progressing, and I love everything I'm seeing from him.
Brandon, thank you so much, buddy. It was great catching up with you. I know you stopped by the CST broadcast booth and visited with Lynn Rollins and I. It was great seeing you over the weekend, and we'll see you during the year at the box scouting for the Nationals.
Ronnie, always a pleasure, brother. Take care, man.
I appreciate it. Brandon Larson, nobody did it better for one single season at LSU back in 1997. The junior college transfer hit 40 bombs, and 118 RBI, which is still an SEC record. And, oh, by the way, played a great defense, stole a few bases, and hit 381. I mean, that's just absolutely sick. What would we do now for a year like that? My goodness, or for two people to combo for a year like that. We'll take a break. When we come back, Buzz at the Box, the former 2009 national champion, here in studio next.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
Everybody, Sports Shorts, Buzzy Haydel, the rare appearance here on Sports Shorts TV and radio. How are you, Buzzard?
Good to be here. Thanks for having me. I like being on TV there, Coach. It feels good.
Feels good.
You know, on the radio so much nowadays, you miss what's happening with this, you know.
And the new leaner Buzz
Yeah,
is we've dropped
yeah.
about 10, 15 pounds.
Dropped some pounds. We've made a lifestyle change, really, Ronnie. You know, we've gotten to
Make sure the microphone is
Are we
near
here?
you.
Are we
just wanna
close?
make sure. Okay.
I wanted the
All right.
fuzzy thing, but I didn't get it, I guess.
I'm more pop my pee guy.
But yeah, made a lifestyle change. So getting in the gym a little more,
Good
and
for you.
it's exciting. You
I'm
know?
gonna start next week.
Okay.
Let
me know. Let me know how that goes.
So here's the deal, Buzz. You've done a few LSU baseball games on the radio. You and Doug Thompson. You got some calls coming up this week. Just before we talk about the weekend that happened,
Sure.
did you see it coming? Were you feeling like, oh my God, the sky's falling offensively?
So I'm gonna take credit for this, although I don't want to take credit for this, but I'm gonna pat myself on the back here. I watched people I always ask, just like you, Ronnie, you're involved in baseball. They want to know, hey, how's the team going to be? Talk to me. I watched 2 games back in the fall. I was
You were an honorary coach?
Honorary coach. I don't want to talk about what happened. It was me and Chris McGee and Mikey Matuk. But look, I didn't build the staff. It was just given to me, but
A lot of dissension. Honestly.
yeah, I mean, Matuk and I had some things. He was giving guys swing away when I was giving the take.
Really?
We
had
yeah,
that for real?
Yeah, so I'm like,
Wow,
Coach, and Matuk's the hitter, right? He wants guys to swing. I'm the guy trying to win a ball game.
Sure,
you know what I
the
mean?
manager.
Right, and so I had to discipline him, not in front of the kids because I didn't want him to see that.
Right.
But look, in all seriousness, I told people, I said, look, I watched 2 fall games, and so this is all I got to go off of. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I saw in the 2 fall games, they're going to struggle at the plate.
Right.
They, and again, it was just 2 fall games. It was cold. I mean, it could have, but I said, I just don't think they've got enough guys in the lineup. So, again, it's still early. Things can change, Ronnie. We've seen it before with Coach Maneri teams. Back in 2017, they went to the same Houston tournament and didn't play well. And
Lost 2 out of 3.
And lost 2 out of 3. And the only game they won was actually the Baylor game in between TCU and Texas Tech. But they go to Omaha. They we know how that year finished. They didn't. They lost the national championship.
Series.
Didn't win the big one, but they had a great year. I've talked about it before. 2008, we were as bad as you can be through the first half of the season, and we turned around. So it's still early, Ronnie. But the reality is, man. Offensively, it's tough to watch because there's just so many holes in the offense, and you hate to put it on, certain guys, Ronnie. But if Daniel Cabrera, or Cade Beloso, or Mathis, if they don't get the big hit,
Right.
nobody's.
Where's it going to come from?
Nobody's getting the big hit. And look, the only reason they won on Friday is, and I say the only reason, this is part of baseball, but is because Cabrera got the big hit. He hit the 2-run homer, and they beat Texas, and everything was hunky-dory, and everything was great. But there's just too many holes in the lineup. I saw it early, and I hate to be right on this because you want LSU to be good offensively. You want them to compete and be good, but they're going to struggle. I think that this team's going to struggle for a while on this offense.
Well, you know about struggling offensively because you were on the 2007 team, which was Paul Maneri's first team, and you hit 256 as a team.
That's right.
Okay, which is kind of like the low watermark bar for the last 30-plus years. It's a great over-under bet in Vegas right now on if this team is going to hit 256 over-under or less. I'll go first, and the good news is that I've been wrong on every prediction, including the Pelicans and including LSU basketball on Saturday. I mean, it's brutal. I think they're going to hit under 256. So hopefully I'm giving them the positive mojo to hit up. I would go to the window and bet a lot on this team hitting under 256. Here's why, Buzz. We're already under 230 as a team.
Still early, Coach.
We're under 230
We do
as a
this
team.
every year.
I know, but
We jump off the bandwagon.
The pitching is going to get worse.
It's still early.
You're going to have Milazzo, Doty, and I'm going to go with Hampton getting a lot. Well, you're going to go Milazzo, Doty, and Cranford with a lot of ABs this year. Hampton's going to play a lot too, although I think you're going to see Bianco work in there a little.
Is it Bianco or Bianco?
Bianco. I'm going Bianco.
Okay, just curious.
I'm grandfathered in. Before anybody realized it was Bianco, we called him Bianco for 20 years.
All right. Well, you gave me hell on Dugas. And
Dugas.
That's my point. And I was saying Dugas, so I'm going to give you hell back on Bianco.
Yeah, but the Dugas, by the way, AT&T Sportsnet instead of CST. But I guess that's because of YouTube. But the thing that I'll say is it is Dugas.
I know.
And
it's
is
Bianco.
unbelievable that he's from below I-10 and it's Dugas.
Okay. Continue. I'm sorry.
But anyway, my point is you're going to get Cranford, Doty, and Milazzo are going to get a lot of at-bats. I mean, they're going to pretty much play every game. And maybe Arnold, when he comes back, gets a few, innings at shortstop. And if he's healthy, the freshman. Hampton's going to play a ton, if not start, in the outfield.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 4 freshmen in your lineup with a lot of ABs. Saul Garza, in the DH spot, who is going to do some good things. He's going to run to a homer and a double, but he's going to strike out a bunch in between. That's a lot of Ks. That's a lot of outs in your lineup. A lot of guys that are learning their way through. And look, Brandon Larson, who we had on last segment, mentioned it. He threw out the names Todd Walker. He threw out the names Blair Barbier. I'm going to give you an Aaron Hill, an Alex Bregman, a Josh Smith, a Rush Johnson-ish. That's the list of freshmen. Blake Dean.
I was gonna throw
I'll throw a Blake Dean
in
out there.
07, he was the only reason we didn't hit 230.
I mean, that's not 10. I mean, that's 2 hands in 30 years of baseball. True freshmen that go in and so. People are going to say, well, what about Nola? What about Matuk? Well, they didn't play till April 20th.
Yeah.
So, does that count? I'm talking about guys that are in there all year, starter, have a great year. I'm not talking about Nola turning a few double plays in May. I'm talking about, like, dudes, 50 starts, hitting 300. Beloso last year. Like, it's less than 10 people in 30 years. So, for if LSU's hanging their hat on 4 freshmen in their lineup, they're going to be sadly disappointed.
Well, and again, I'm a little more glass half full guy than you are.
In general.
In general, all right. But let me finish the statement before you cut me off, because when you first hear it, you're going to say, no way. Okay. They have a chance. They can turn it around. I'm not telling you they're going to hit 290 and that all these freshmen are going to figure it out. But the reality is they've got to figure out a way to score 5 runs a game. 4, maybe. I realize they scored 4 on Saturday and lost, but they came in and the bullpen wasn't as sharp as they normally have been. But, they don't Ronnie, they don't have to be great offensively. They just can't hit 230 as a team. Give me to 265, 270, and man, we can win a lot of games with the pitching staff. So they've got a chance. They can turn this around. I'm not ready to say this team's down and out. The offense, I think, is going to struggle just because of a lot of things you did say about the freshmen, and it's going to take a while. But they can figure it out because of this pitching staff. They just need to, when it calls to, I know everybody's all this negative, I heard Larson talk about the analytics and all this stuff, and you should, and everybody's all, you should never bunt. You should never. Coach, every time it calls to bunt for this team, you bunt. When it's a hit and run call, you hit and run. You do everything you can to put the guys that are struggling, and we know who they are, in a position to have somewhat of a positive at bat, right?
Move the ball.
Just put the ball in Don't play. Strike out 34 times in a weekend. That's where we are, because they are struggling at this point. We've got to look for the positives, and that's, hey, we laid a bunt down. We moved the ball over. We hit a ball hard. that's the things you got to look for.
Glass half full Buzz is what is your nickname.
Okay, nice.
All right. They're going to hit over under 256.
All right. So I'm glad you told me. I wish the number was 260. Okay, because
it's your team. Because 2007, you hit 256.
Because I think it's going to be 258. I really do. So I wish it was 260, but man,
256. They're hitting in the 220s, and we are a week and a half away from the SEC starting on the road at Ole Miss.
Oh my God!
And as good as Acker was, is it Archer? Acker was for Oklahoma.
Did you do the broadcast?
I did, but Coach, my head's spinning after this weekend. As good as Acker was for Oklahoma, and he was 91, 93, pounded the zone, had some great little dart run movement at the end on his fastball, and competed. It was 92, but it felt 95 because of the conviction he pitched with. They've got better arms in the SEC.
Yeah,
now,
that's right.
Law of averages say you're going to get a dink or a bleed or a thing. And look, you're not going to get no hit again, okay? It was 120, 30 years since the last. But you might get 2 hit.
Right.
You might get 3 hit. You might get 1 run. That's not going to win. And they're going to run into much better donkeys than Acker was.
So can I set the over-under at 260, or it's got to be 256?
Oh, my God, Buzz.
If I set it at 260, I'm going to say under.
You need to buy some points from the window.
But at
256, that's what we're going with. That's your number from 2007.
And I know I gave you a statement yesterday that said I thought it would be under.
Yeah, I know you slept on it.
I slept on it.
More positive Monday Buzz.
Come on, man. They can get it to 257, can't they?
So you're going over?
I'm going to go
You're
over.
Wishful over.
But it ain't going to be much, Coach. It ain't going to be much.
We're talking they're hitting sub 230.
That means they got to get hot and hot quick.
What do we got? We got Southeastern coming up on Tuesday. We need some SWAC teams to roll up in here. Is there a Prairie View on the schedule? Because Southern had over 40 runs in 2 games against over 50 runs in 3 games against Prairie View over the weekend.
Did I see Southern no-hit somebody?
7-inning no-hitter against Prairie View, who you and I right now could get Prairie View. Like
we could get him.
You, me, Musso, and Paul O'Neill. I'm telling you right now, we could get Prairie View.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna let you work mostly on the bump, but I can get a couple lefties out. But my point is that I'm staying with the under 256. I don't see a path otherwise. Although I do think Cabrera has turned the corner offensively, and now he's gonna be Cabrera. Like, he's going to be the feared guy in their lineup.
Well, and the point I was making about there's only a handful of guys, and I hate to put it on certain guys. I think Cade Beloso is great. We saw what he did last year. We saw what he's done for the first 7 games this year. He had a bad weekend.
Yeah.
He didn't hit. LSU loses 2 out of 3.
LSU can't have a bad weekend.
And that's my point.
With those guys.
It's not Beloso's fault. Like you can have a bad weekend. That's part of baseball, but it's just tough when you got all the other guys that can't really pick up the slack. And so that's where you're going to see a struggle. But, man, and I know we'll talk about it, but it was impressive to see some of those arms this weekend for LSU.
I would say Cabrera, you have the tremendous confidence in. Beloso, you have confidence in because you got a sample size. The guy had 310 homers a year ago. Yeah. Garza is going to be the 1-for-4 guy with a couple of punchies, and you hope the one is a double or homer.
Yeah, Garza for me, I know he got hot late last year, but he's not a polished hitter. He's just a guy that's going to run in the ball, and you hope, okay, if he can give you 265, 270 with 10 homers, right? Double-digit homers.
Garza's not as bad as he was the first half of last year. He's not as good as he was the second half of last year. He's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And probably right now he's not as in the middle as we'd like him to be. But I mean, can Garza hit 260 with 8-10 homers? I think he can.
Yeah.
I think he can, and that's what he has to do. Beloso's got to hit 290 with 8-10 homers.
Yeah.
Cabrera's got to hit 310 with 10-12 homers. Like, those guys have to do that. If none of them do, the rest aren't picking them up. Zach Mathis is not a leadoff. They don't have a leadoff.
Right.
I don't know what you do there. Zach Mathis disappointed me in that he swung and missed so much over the weekend in hitters counts. It's one thing when you swing and miss on a 1-2 breaking ball or a fastball and 1-2 out of the zone. It's another when you swing and miss 3-1, 3-2, and everybody in the park knows a fastball's coming.
Yeah, and another thing that's concerning, and I know we
he looks like on the hard stuff, it's his bat's too slow.
It gets to him. It's that he kind of he waves that bat out in front of him, and then he tries to get it loaded, and sometimes he gets
sometimes he gets and everything.
Sometimes he has a lot of movement, and sometimes he gets beat. But and I know, look, Eddie Smith's big thing is you hunt a pitch early in the count that you like. I mean, look, it's not rocket science. We've all heard this before. Early in the count, get a pitch you want. When you get to 2 strikes, choke up and don't strike out. That's the thing that concerns me a little bit.
That gets you 150 a year, huh?
Coach,
I think
all the strikeouts is what's concerning. I mean, like, let's choke
up.
Let's
that choke part's
where's the choke part?
Up.
And let's put it in play.
I haven't seen much choke.
And like a guy, and again, I don't want to be critical of all, but like a guy like the Giacomo, like if I had his speed, man, I could really still be playing. I think I played at LSU a lot. I mean, like, just choke and just get on top of the plate and just literally softball slap hit it into the ground. He swings and misses entirely too much for me. A lot of guys do, but for his athleticism and his speed, I just would utilize that so much. And it's easier said in the stands. I get it. Don't get me wrong.
When we come back, I want to talk about something that, kind of, I don't really look at a whole lot of social media or look at a lot of blog stuff, but the internet had a real strong opinion. A lot of people had strong opinions about the Saturday loss by LSU when they were trailing 6-4 to Baylor in the 9th, and LSU with a runner at first and second and no outs decided to bunt Cranford.
Yeah.
Want to talk about that because I got some strong opinions on that one. I want to talk to Buzz, and then we'll look ahead to what's next for LSU, and we'll talk about the record performance. 2 no-hitters into the 8th. We've never seen that before in this type of environment between Oklahoma and LSU. That's coming up next with 2009 national champion Buzzy Haydel. Don't go anywhere.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's Casino. Thanks to Brandon Larson, former LSU Tiger great and national champion who joined us earlier. And we've got another national champion, baseball player for the Tigers, Buzzy Haydel, part of that 09 team. And, boy.
I just hit he hit 38 more homers than me in his career at LSU than me.
That's in his career.
That's it.
One season.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You know?
09's getting further and further away.
Boy, isn't it?
I mean, it seems even further away than it really
God,
was.
like, where did it go?
11 years ago was the last time LSU baseball won a national championship, and they're nowhere near doing that again anytime soon.
Well, that's why 17, and I know Coach is going to kill me if he's watching this, but that's why 17 was so big, because if they win that one, the gap, I mean, it looks okay. You know, from 2009 and then
Coach,
9 to 17, I mean, we're right on track, but that one hurt.
We just needed to get Russell Reynolds out of there. I mean, it's his fault. We left him in there too long.
We needed Walker to not get hurt.
Yeah, but
that's not his fault.
You know, we threw Russell Reynolds. We wanted to get 2 or 3. We got 3, and we ran him out there for the 4th, and then we left him out there to walk the bases loaded. I mean, we got to look in the mirror a little bit.
Florida was a good team, though. What was tough about that year, not tough, but you just felt like Florida was going to win one, and they get to the final. It's like, well, you hope it's not this year, but it was, and tough.
So it's LSU's got to go a little bit. I mean, to win the national championship. Now, if we want to be positive, Buzz, Monday, half full.
That's right.
I'll drink your punch right here, Buzz. In 2017, LSU baseball, Florida couldn't hit. I mean, flat out couldn't hit. Now,
like they won the national championship hitting.
They didn't have a guy hit over 300 in their lineup.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
But they had 3 dudes that were first-round picks. And good. LSU staff is good. Their top 3 are good. Jaden Hill's as good as anybody.
Yeah,
I trust Beck to a certain extent. I trust Fontenot to a certain extent.
You Beck, Fontenot. You got Labus more so, and you talking about.
No, but I'm talking about
bullpen?
I got 3 guys. I got the 3 starters. I got Hill. I got Beck, and I got Fontenot. Those. What is that? 6 guys are pretty darn good. Yeah. I mean, I would take those 6 guys on just about any team LSU's ever had. Beyond those 6, I don't know where my trust ball factor is right now. It's a little oogie. I think Stores is going to be a guy.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the velocity get up. I don't know why it's only 87 and 90 when it used to be in the 90s. You know, hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully the more he throws, the more velocity will get up. Because at 6'6", the slider's playing a little bit this year. Like, Stores has a chance to really be a dude. Now, good and the bad. The good is that he's throwing healthy-wise. You know, Stores is feeling okay. The bad is if he throws too good, he's going to sign and be gone because he's a redshirt sophomore. So, you know, Stores may be in that limbo where can he do good enough to come back next year and then really take off? But my point is I feel confident about the 6 guys that LSU has. But are those 6 good enough to carry a team that's going to hit sub 256?
Well, that's my thing, and I've said this multiple times. I'll say it again here. That's why Jaden Hill, because you talked about it, the Florida team in 2017, they did it with pitching only, but it was dominant pitching and dominant starting pitching. Jaden Hill, we saw how dominant he can be when he came in on Friday against Texas. Now, if he can give you 5 or 6 of those and he be a starter, a Saturday guy after a Cole Henry, man, it just looks now, like you said, I mean, Coach, I mean, let's just get it to 250 as a team hitting, and we can win a lot of games scoring 4 runs a game. But then you take him out of the bullpen. Now, I'm like you, Ronnie. You've got about 5-6 guys that you're like, okay, I know what I'm going to get for the most part when you give them the ball. But as far as like, I don't know what depth means to certain people. Like, does that mean you've got 10 guys, or because if they've got a lot of guys that return and all that, but you're right, you only got 6 real dudes that you can give the ball to and know what you're going to get. And then after that, it's kind of the Oogie feeling, right? You don't know what you're going to get from the rest of the guys. So their pitching staff, the guys that they got are dominant and get you outs. But when it starts getting to 7, 8, 9, 10 guy on the staff, 10th guy on the staff, then it starts getting a little shaky.
If you're going to hit sub 256, you have to pitch your butt off, which this team has a chance to do.
Right.
But you also have to field. And right now they're averaging an error a game. It's not the best fielding team in the world. I don't know that the Doty-Cranford combination is going to remind anybody of Nola LeMahieu.
Right.
Mathis over at third is a suitable third baseman, but he's already had 4 errors, I believe, on the year, 4 or 5 errors on the year. Outfield wise, you can be okay. I mean, outfielders aren't.
I like him.
I think Hampton will get better. He misplayed a ball on Saturday against Baylor, but it's a funky ballpark and a jutted wall, and you never play there. And guy didn't have a fall. I mean, he can make a lot of excuses.
Yeah.
You'd like to make the catch, but it wasn't like the worst play in the world.
Right.
DeGiacomo didn't catch a ball in the right center field gap against La Tech on Wednesday night on a ball. He misplayed the ball. So, you're going to have some weird routes from time to time, but for the most part, and Milazzo is going to throw people out, which is the equalizer factor from a year ago.
Yeah.
But they have to do all the little things good, which they haven't shown. They got to be able, when it's time to bunt, get it down. They got to have smart base running, which they haven't done. Yeah. They've got to be able to play defense. So you're
a bunt guy.
Well,
do we want to talk about that real quick?
Let's go back to the bunt. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you. You reminded me of what I want to talk about. First and second and no outs in the 9th inning.
Against
when
Baylor.
You're down 2 runs on Saturday against Baylor.
That's right.
Pick any game USA. If you're in that situation, what is your philosophy? In the 9th, down 2, runners at first and second and no outs, what would you do?
Am I the home team or the visiting team?
This matters to you?
A little bit.
Okay. How about if you're the visitor? Tell me if you're the visitor and tell me if you're the home. What's the difference?
Well, see, because you're going to say it doesn't matter who's batting. I'm going to bunt.
I'm going to say it does matter who's batting, but probably 75% of the time I'm bunting in that situation.
Okay. I'm about 75, 80% myself. I mean, there's on LSU's team,
Cabrera.
There might be a guy, but they might not even. I might even let Cabrera lay the bunt down. Like this year's LSU team, it's just about everybody on the team in that situation is laying the bunt down, knowing the offense that I've got.
Right.
Like it's not like we've got an 09 team that ships hot and this guy.
I'm letting Cabrera swing it.
And Beloso.
And no, because Beloso's a double play type.
Yeah, but Beloso
right?
get it one out the ballpark and you're leading by 1. So
I'm letting Cabrera swing it, and I'm probably talking to my salty veteran bench coach on Beloso. Other than that, everybody else is bunting.
To get him to maybe talk you out of it, right?
Everybody else is bunting.
No, and this is what people forget too, from the never bunt guys, right? Is they're amateur hitters, and I say this to nauseum sometimes on the radio broadcast and everywhere else. Like this
isn't the Yankees.
That's what kills me when I watch our pitching staff. Get a guy out right away and get the second guy out, and then we nibble away at the next guy and curveball, and it's like, man, go get that guy. It's like this dude's hitting 275 and he's an amateur. He's never seen this before. Like, go right after him and let him just fly out to left, which he's probably going to do. And that's what kills me the most. And that's why on the whole bunt situation, you play the chances are, right? The biggest percentage. Oh, by the way, we had Cranford up. Okay.
I don't know what
was Cranford going to do? Hit a double?
What are people like Matt Moscona and other fans that are online saying? Why are we bunting? Cranford is up.
Yeah.
Like he's bunting with nobody on.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm bunting him with nobody on. I'm bunting Cranford. Sacrifice. Just hoping they throw it away. Hoping he makes a great bunt. It's not even anything to talk about.
There's a few guys.
And look, he got it down. He wasn't the best, but he got it down.
Coach, there may be a few guys. Not maybe. There would be a few guys in a lineup. We'd have a rule. Down by, let's call it down by 3 runs or less. So down by 3, 2, or 1 runs after the 6th inning, you take till you get a strike. And I don't care what game we're in.
Please.
Like Cranford's one. DeGiacomo. I mean, name all the guys. this is going to be a rule moving forward, guys. We're down by 3, 2, or 1 runs after the 6th inning. You take till you get a strike. Maybe even take till you get 2 if we get any.
Well,
that's got to be. You've got to do everything possible to give a struggling offense the best chance. And look, some people would say, well, that's taking them away from their aggressiveness. And how can they get out of a slump if you don't do it? Well, show me that you can hit first before we have to implement things.
Pulmonary's going to have to get outside of his comfort zone. You played for him. He likes to show the trust ball factor. He likes to let guys hit away.
And you love that as a player, right?
As a player, he'll give the green light 3-0 from time to time, like he did on Beloso Friday night against Texas, where he gave him a 3-0 green light, and the guy flew out to Oppo left field on a weak fly ball that almost was a foul ball. He likes to do those things. But I think this year's team, you got to look yourself in the mirror and reevaluate. Just like this team has to reevaluate how it's going to handle things moving forward, I think Coach Maneri has to reevaluate. He doesn't like to give the take for 30-plus years of his career, second winningest coach, active coach of all time. But it's not going to work unless you do this year.
Well,
there's 5 guys in the lineup that you have to handle differently than what you've handled before because you don't have enough buffer around them to make up for it.
Well, and that's a good point you mentioned. I mean, it's worked for the last 37 years he's been coaching baseball, so it's going to be hard for Coach to get away from that. And you look, as a player, you love it, right? When it gives you the 3-1, you're like, I'm going to get a pitch to hit. But once again, amateur hitters, it all sounds good in theory until you hit a weak fly ball to center field. Oh, you made good contact with it, but it's an out. And so I don't see Coach doing it. And again, he hadn't done it all his career, and he's been successful. And you can't really knock that. You got to say he's doing the right things at the right time. And you've said it before, Coach, and I'm just going to tell you, Ronnie, the pulmonary factor. Don't give up on this team yet. Yeah. I'm telling you, Coach finds a way to make guys.
Weird magic, April 15th on.
And don't let them start playing well. Get to the SEC tournament. We know how well they play there. Coach Maneri gets them playing right at the right time. It's still very early. I'm going to say that again. Stick with this team. I will think they'll struggle. I do think they'll struggle throughout the year offensively. But they're going to figure some things out, and they will get better as the season continues. You have no choice.
All right, so who do you think? Everybody knows we've got Cabrera, Beloso, and Garza that returned from a year ago. They have no choice but to hopefully do at least what they did a year ago, or pretty darn close to it. Of all the other people, Milazzo's in there for defensive purposes. Doesn't matter if he hits 200 or 300. And until he stops stepping in the bucket, he's not going to hit 300. That front foot is literally touching the third base bag. It's got to change for him to hit a high average.
Does he strike out a lot?
I mean, they all are. I don't know. Is it more than anybody else? I don't know. But, like, for example, Milazzo ended the game, hit a hard hit ball to the shortstop to end the game in the no-hitter against Oklahoma. It was a 3-1 count with Cabrera on deck.
Right.
Why are we not taking right there? And it's not on Milazzo to make that decision. It's on the coaches. Coaches have to give Milazzo that. They can't assume that an 18-year-old is going to be smart enough to wait for the perfect pitch in the perfect spot and then right angle and hit it in the homer. Like, I want Milazzo to take because it makes Acker throw an extra pitch, which would have been pitch 119 coming up, and if he's gonna get a fastball. I mean, if 3-1 with nobody on and a 1-0 game with a no hitter, he got a fastball 3-1. He's going to get a fastball 3-2. So you get another look at a pitch, another timing mechanism, and all that. And oh, by the way, a guy who's been red hot is on deck who could go yard or a double in the gap and all that sort of thing. So I don't like how that was handled, at all.
Right.
Again, it's about percentages. He hit the ball hard, but he got it right at him because 3 out of every 10 balls are gonna be outs.
Right.
So 7 out of 10 balls are gonna be outs, even if you're a good hitter. So all those reasons, it's not about hey, you're great, I love you, swing it. You have to sometimes be the hard, be the tough parent and give them the take.
All right. So your question was going to be who hits the best out of the other guys.
We know those 3 plus Milazzo's got to be in there for defense. So there's 4 people in their lineup that aren't going anywhere. Garza DH, Milazzo catcher, Beloso first, and Cabrera and right. Other than that, Mathis is going to play somewhere on the infield. Right now he's at third. Who's going to emerge? Who's the 1 or 2 hitters that aren't doing it because nobody else is that's going to emerge in your opinion?
I'm going to go, and we've talked about it, Ronnie. I do think he'll struggle a little bit when SEC play and all the scouting reports are out there. It comes, but he swings hard and he does make a lot of contact. Is Milazzo. So, I mean, and look, I don't have a whole lot of options, right? So, I mean, I'm going to go with Milazzo. I think he's going to be.
No, I mean, Milazzo's in the we know about
I thought
him.
you said those guys who's going to be.
Who else? Because those 4 are going to be in there. But
no,
4
Milazzo's
hitters
not
out
the
of
guy.
9.
You said Cabrera, Mathis, Beloso, and you
Garza.
And we went with and Garza. That's
right.
the 4. And you throw in Milazzo in there too?
Yeah.
Okay,
5.
so you throw Milazzo in there. Oh, coach.
So that means Doty, Cranford, maybe an Arnold we haven't seen yet. Hampton Jr.
If Hampton
Bianco,
Jr. can just hit the ball on the ground,
Giacomo,
Hampton Jr.
Dugas. Why isn't
Bianco?
it
I mean, Coach, I don't know if I've got a good answer for you. That's the hard part is I don't know.
I think Doty. Doty had some.
You threw me for a loop with Milazzo. If he would have been out of that,
Doty had some good at bats over the weekend. Hit some balls hard. Got 2 cheap hits, infield hits against Texas. But then he hit the laser to left and gets caught, so it equaled out.
Well,
I thought Doty is starting to come around a little bit offensively, and if I've got out of all the other non-hitters at the moment, I think Doty, out of necessity, they're going to play him a lot.
Well, I was going to say he's going to
get the most chances.
He's going to get the opportunities.
I think Doty will emerge. I mean, that superstar talent is going to eventually. He's going to start to feel like he believes and he belongs. I mean.
Well, I mean, and that'll be interesting to see because he's going to stay in the lineup, and that is one thing. When you're going to get the call every day, you can kind of let your hair down a little bit, and hopefully, Doty realizes that he's not coming out of the lineup. Hopefully, it kind of starts to turn around. And you're right, he made some better swings this weekend.
We'll take a time out on Sports Shorts. We'll be back to wrap things up. He's Buzzy Haydel. How about that pitching performance by Labus? He goes 8 innings, 1 hit, and gets the loss. I mean, wow. We'll be back. Sports Shorts presented by LeBears.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.
Can't get enough Sports Shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rantz.
Welcome back. Final segment of Sports Shorts presented by LeBears Casino. He's Buzzy Haydel. Ronnie Rantz here with you. How about that pitching performance on,
Wow.
Have you ever seen a no-hitter? Have you ever been in the dugout?
Me and Doug called the 7-inning no-hitter for Poche. It doesn't count.
I mean, it's kind of cool.
Well, if we'd have done 2 more innings, he'd have probably threw the no-hitter, But, I mean, it was my fault. I mean, it wasn't our fault. We only called the 7-inning game. Let me think. Have I ever
You ever been a part of one?
I threw a one-hitter against Rommel in high school, and the only hit was like the little smaller. It was it shouldn't have been a hit. It was just a little bitty.
Now in high school, did you see anyone? Were you on a team that somebody threw a no-hitter?
Ready for this? Ben Sagne. Remember Ben Sagne out of West Monroe? No hit us. I was pitching, and Ben Sagne was pitching for West Monroe. No hit us. We won 4-2.
Really?
We beat them. I got the win.
Yeah.
And I only gave up like 2 hits, Coach.
People?
Yeah, we stole home like twice. Like we did some things. Don't get me wrong, but 4-2. Coach Jeff Schecksnyder was the coach at West Monroe. Coach Scheck. And
ULM
coach and a great guy. And we beat him 4-2. Ben Sagne threw a no-hitter. But To answer your question, no, it hadn't been a whole lot, especially in college.
What'd you think of the Oklahoma pitcher and his performance?
Yeah, I thought it was impressive. I thought he just kept pounding the strikes on me. He matched Labus, but I agree with you. I was impressed with Labus, and I'm gonna again. I've been patting myself on the back a lot during this show.
Yeah,
but
you might have to have rotator cuff surgery.
But Labus,
expensive.
Doug Thompson is known to be the president of the Devin Fontenot fan club.
He's now AJ Labus.
No, it's me as AJ Labus, and I've always been a Labus. Even a couple years ago, I love the way he works. Okay, and you know this as a pitcher, Ronnie. You may not know this as a fielder. When you're in a field, but I mean, you know this because you're a baseball guy. You want guys to catch the ball, get on the mound,
right,
and throw and work and throw strikes. You don't want ball, get it, walk around the mound, get the rosin bag, get back on, looking for the mound, shake off it. You don't want the time. Like if you watch, and it's actually coming on CST now, Ronnie, but if you watch him catch the ball, he gets right back on the mound and he works. And I love that about him. It's not so much the most overpowering stuff, although he was running the ball up in the low 90s. He just throws 3 pitches for strikes and he works quick. And it was impressive to watch. And if he can do that, they're going to win some Sunday games if they can score enough runs. Let me say this, he's going to keep them in some Sunday games.
Look, as far as the start and rotation goes, LSU's solid because Marceau and Labus pound the zone. They've now proven that they're going to throw a lot of strikes with a couple of different pitches. And as long as you do that, you give yourself a chance.
Yep.
And then with Hill, he's kind of like your flex guy. First guy in to win the game, whether it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever you need. If as soon as things go a little haywire and you've got a lead, you bring in Hill and he shuts it down and goes the rest of the way.
So Ronnie, if Hill comes in Maneri's office this morning and says, "Coach, it feels great, love it. I know I can give you more. I can give you 100 pitches every outing." I go, do you make the change or do you still keep it? Not yet.
No. If I'm
at some point down the road, though?
Yes. If I'm Paul Maneri, I definitely want to be very careful with Hill coming off of his injury last year. So I'm selling it that, hey, no, let's not jump too quickly. Let's keep going with our program and ease you into it. He went 2 innings, then he went 2 2/3, then he went 3 against Texas on Friday. So let's just continue to stretch him. It also buys you some time if you're Maneri to see if Marceau or Labus are going to falter.
Yeah.
Henry's never coming out of the rotation unless it's for an injury. Marceau's the only one that showed any kind of kink in the armor. I think A.J. Labus is solid as a Sunday guy, and he's going to throw a lot of strikes. So let's just give those guys a chance to keep doing what they're doing. And then if all of a sudden they have a couple bad starts in a row and Hill's over there chomping at the bit, then you can justify a move. But right now the pitching from that situation's fine. The Florida, when they didn't have a guy hit over 300 and they won a national championship in 2017, they had a couple boppers in the middle that could run it out the park, and they played some small ball. Do you think Coach Maneri will succumb to the moment and succumb to what's happening and realize, we're really tough, and we will start to see a lot more bunting? Or do you think not?
No, I think Coach is committed to it. I mean, I think, I think even, and you didn't see this a lot, but I think even early in the game, you didn't see this a lot from Coach. I think early in games, you'll start seeing guys, especially, like I said, I mean, it's not making fun of the young kid. Hell, I couldn't hit. When it came up, I had to bunt. I mean, I get it. It's early in the game. You've got Cranford up there. You've got the Giacomo. You've got guys, and you got a guy on first base, not to mention a guy on first and second, and you got nobody out. I mean, you lay the bunt down. I mean, Coach likes to hit and run. He doesn't like giving up the outs, and he'll tell you that. I don't like bunting. But it beats the alternative of just letting a guy swing and miss and going back to the dugout and the guys haven't moved any. So he'd rather hit and run and do some different things. And everyone knows that. But look, a lot of times he makes the right calls on the hit and runs too. We don't talk about that enough, but he loves the hit and run because it gets things going.
All right, before we let you go, last time, over under 256, LSU in 2020 for the entire season, whatever postseason gets thrown into that pie.
Didn't I answer this already?
Over under what?
It's going to be over, but it's going to be like over. 257.
Right,
it's going to be.
I'm taking the under. LSU's going to hit under 256. And real quickly, 30 games in the SEC. LSU wins how many?
Coach Paul Maneri factor is going to do it. 17.
What?
I said 17 and 13. I went 17 and 13 early. You're going to.
Wow, you must have had a great night's rest because Sunday Buzzy didn't have.
So what are you going to go with? 15 and 15?
14 and 16.
Wow.
Coach, and we're going to be sweating a regional, and I'm taking under 256. Have a great week, everybody. Sports Shorts presented by LeBears.
Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information. If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase. Sports fans, you don't want to miss the biggest celebration of the summer. It's the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Induction Weekend in Natchitoches, June 25th through 27th. The 2020 Hall of Fame class features legendary sports figures Nick Saban, Phil Robertson, and many more. Log on to lasportshall.com for more ticket information.